Your thermostat reads 72 degrees Fahrenheit and you believe it. You set it, you wait. And yet the room still feels wrong. Your feet are cold, your face is warm. And you turn the dial a little higher and the feeling doesn't change. Here's what nobody measured for you. The thermostat is honest. It's just reading the wrong altitude. 6 thermometers, 1 room, 8-foot ceiling, no adjustments, no tricks. 1 at the floor, 1 at 2 feet, 1 at 4 feet, 1 at 6 feet, 1 at 8 feet, and 1 pressed against the ceiling before the heating system turned on. All 6 read within 2 degrees of each other. That was the baseline. Then we let the room run as it normally would. Heating on, thermostat set at 72 degrees Fahrenheit, door closed, and waited. The results explain everything. At 6 in the morning, before any heat source became active, the room was cold and still. Floor, 61 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 feet, 62 degrees Fahrenheit. 4 feet, 63 degrees Fahrenheit. 6 feet, 63 degrees Fahrenheit. 8 feet, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. A 4-degree spread, top to bottom, already present, before a single BTU entered the room. That spread exists because of one quiet physical law: warm air is lighter, without asking permission, without caring where your body is. The room was resting overnight, and even then, the ceiling was already 4 degrees warmer than the floor. That is where the story starts. 30 minutes after the heating system activated, we took the second reading. Floor, 63 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 feet, 65 degrees Fahrenheit. 4 feet, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. 8 feet, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The thermostat read 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The thermostat read degrees Fahrenheit, and it was satisfied. But look at what that means in practice. The thermostat is mounted at 5 feet, so it felt the room approach its target, and it told the system, enough. Meanwhile, the floor was still at 63 degrees Fahrenheit. A person standing in that room has feet at 63 degrees Fahrenheit. A person sleeping in that room has their entire body between the floor and 2 feet, which at this point were reading 63 and 65. The thermostat said the room was warm. The body said something different. Here is the mistake most people make at this point. They turn the dial higher. 72 becomes 74. Then 76. The bill climbs. The feet stay cold. The ceiling gets warmer. The gradient grows. This is the invisible error at the center of this experiment. You are not too cold because the room lacks heat. You are too cold because the heat is in the wrong place, at the wrong altitude, unreachable by the body that needs it. Stratification is not a comfort problem. It is a physics problem. And adding more heat without addressing the gradient is solving the wrong equation. Before you add force, read the wrong flow. 2 hours after the system stabilized, we took the third reading. The thermostat had been satisfied for over an hour, cycling on and off, holding 72 degrees Fahrenheit at the 5-foot sensor. Floor, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 feet, 66 degrees Fahrenheit. 4 feet, 69 degrees Fahrenheit. 8 feet, 74 degrees Fahrenheit. The gradient between floor and ceiling was now 11 degrees. Was Jordio enormous Gmantper, with a true, with a siftadenized agentpa holding eseftemesmartica. 11 degrees, across 8 feet of vertical space, in a sealed room, with an active heating system, running correctly. Let that sit for a moment. The system was doing exactly what it was told to do. It was not malfunctioning. It was not undersized. It was heating the ceiling and calling it done. And the person living in that room had been nudging the thermostat upward for weeks, trying to solve a problem that more heat could not fix. Now, something about why the gradient is not linear. You might expect that the temperature climbs evenly from floor to ceiling. 1 degree per foot, tidy and predictable. It doesn't work that way. Warm air doesn't just float, it convects. It moves in columns, and it accelerates upward near heat sources. The warmer it gets, the faster it separates from the cooler air below. In rooms with ceilings higher than 8 feet, the math becomes more punishing. A 10-foot room can stratify to 14 or 15 degrees under the same conditions. A 12-foot ceiling, a great room, a cathedral space, running forced air heat from ceiling registers, can produce a gradient of 18 degrees or more in stable conditions. The architecture you chose or inherited is not neutral. It participates in the physics. Fourth reading, same room, same thermostat setting, but one change. The ceiling fan, turned on in winter mode, low speed, clockwise rotation. In winter mode, a ceiling fan spins so that air is drawn upward through the center and pushed down along the walls. Not a column of cool air aimed at your head. A slow circulation that pulls the warm air pooled at the ceiling and walks it back down the walls toward the floor. Low speed is critical. High speed defeats the purpose. The fan should be barely audible, just enough to move the column. We waited 45 minutes and measured. Floor, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 feet, 69 degrees Fahrenheit. 4 feet, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. 8 feet, 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Ceiling, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The gradient 4 degrees floor. Not at 66. At 68. The thermostat had not moved. The room had not changed. The room had not changed. One ceiling fan running at low speed in the correct direction. Recovered 4 degrees of lost comfort at the altitude where the body lives. That is not a small number. Fifth reading. A different scenario. The ceiling fan was turned off. The heating system was replaced in imagination with a radiant floor scenario. A low-output electric mat under a small area of the floor, radiating upward from the surface itself. This is not the $12,000 hydronic system. This is the entry-level simulation of what low heat sources do when compared to high heat sources. Heat from below rises into the occupied zone first. The body intercepts it before it reaches the ceiling. The gradient reverses its shape. Instead of ceiling pulling ahead, the floor pushes up. Reading after stabilization. Floor, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 feet, 71 degrees Fahrenheit. 4 feet, 71 degrees Fahrenheit. 6 feet, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The ceiling 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The ceiling was the coldest surface in the room, and nobody was complaining. Sixth reading. A conventional low-mounted baseboard heater. Running along the exterior wall, 12 inches above the floor. Not radiant floor. Not high-register forced air. A baseboard unit at ankle height, the kind that has been in rural homes across North America for 50 years. Reading after stabilization. Floor, 67 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 feet, 69 degrees Fahrenheit. 4 feet, 71 degrees Fahrenheit. 8 feet, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Gradient, 6 degrees. Better than the ceiling register. Worse than radiant floor. Better than nothing, and already present in millions of homes that never received credit for their design. The baseboard was not chosen for style. It was chosen because someone understood, even without measuring, that heat belongs near the floor. Now the ranking, honest, no editorializing. Method 1, ceiling register forced air, no fan. Peak gradient at stabilization, 11 degrees. Floor temperature at steady state, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Comfort at body altitude, poor. Method 2, ceiling register forced air, ceiling fan low speed winter mode. Peak gradient at stabilization, 4 degrees. Floor temperature at steady state, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Comfort at body altitude, good. Cost, to implement. $11 is fan already installed, 40 to 80 son for a basic fan with winter mode. Method 3, baseboard heater, ankle height. Peak gradient at stabilization, 6 degrees. Floor temperature at steady state, 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Comfort at body altitude, good. Cost to implement. All radiant floor simulation. Method 4, low radiant floor simulation. Peak gradient at stabilization. Reverse gradient, -2 degrees floor to ceiling. Floor temperature at steady state, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Comfort at body altitude, excellent. Cost to implement. Entry-level electric mats start at $120 and Hitmanson Edit is not the most expensive system. The winner was understanding the gradient first. Was Byraus Wadi, with determined reportatia stated, Matreningus Becaradra Twenningus. Tidahem Peditam, Reforpergent. What a. Here is the implication for summer. Because the gradient does not disappear when the season turns. It reverses. In summer, without air conditioning, the ceiling accumulates radiant heat from the roof above. The floor, especially a slab or earth contact floor, stays cooler by inertia. The gradient in summer runs the opposite direction, ceiling hot, floor cool. Which means the worst place to sleep in summer is not the room facing west. It is any sleeping position elevated more than 2 feet off the floor, a loft, a second floor, a mezzanine, and the best natural cooling in a room with high stratification is not a fan aimed at the face. It is a fan aimed at the floor, pushing the cooler surface level air into motion, creating convection from the ground up through the occupied zone, before it exhausts upward. Same physics, same gradient, different season, different direction, same principle. The body lives at a specific altitude. Heat and cold decide everything above and below that line. Now the protocol you can run with 2 thermometers and a ladder. No special equipment, no electrician, no tools. Thermometer 1, placed on the floor near the center of the room. Thermometer 2, taped to the wall or hung from a string at ceiling height. Wait 30 minutes after your heating or cooling system stabilizes. Record both numbers. Subtract. If the difference in winter is less than 4 degrees, your room is reasonably well mixed. The ceiling fan is doing its work, or the heat source is already low. If the difference is between 4 and 7 degrees, you have a moderate stratification problem. A ceiling fan in winter mode at low speed will likely recover 2 to 4 degrees of floor temperature with no change to your thermostat setting. If the difference is greater than 7 degrees, you have a significant stratification problem. Adding heat is making it worse. The ceiling is receiving everything. The floor is receiving almost nothing. Take that number before you touch the thermostat again. 3 fixes ordered by cost. Fix 1, $0. Turn your ceiling fan to winter mode. Minimum speed. If you don't know how to reverse it, there is a small switch on the motor housing just below the blades. Flip it, set the speed to low, and walk away. Check the floor temperature in 45 minutes. Fix 2, $40 to $80. If you don't have a ceiling fan with reversible motor, a basic 42-inch or 52-inch fan with winter mode costs $40 to $80 at any hardware store. This is not a luxury upgrade. It is the cheapest destratification device available. Fix 3, $120 to $200. If you want to address the source and not just the mixing, a low-mounted radiant mat under a rug or at the perimeter of your sleeping area shifts where the heat originates. The gradient reversal is not dramatic in a single room, but it is measurable and permanent. None of these require a contractor. None require a permit. None require turning off the existing system. The thermostat stays at 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and the floor temperature rises. That is the fix. Your thermostat is honest. It reads exactly what the air is doing, at exactly 5 feet, exactly where it was installed. It is not broken. It is not undersized. It is simply reading the wrong altitude. Your body lives between 0 and 6 feet. Your thermostat lives at 5, and the ceiling has been collecting the warmth that was meant for you every single night, quietly, without being asked. The fix was always there. You just couldn't see it.